We start with some breaking news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir at this point. A gun battle is on between the security forces in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. What we do know at this point is that 4 CRPF men and 4 personnel from the Jammu and Kashmir police, they have been killed in the ongoing encounter. 2 terrorists have been neutralized and the gun battle is still on. Heavily armed attackers stormed the base in Pulwama town of south of Kashmir earlier today at 3 p.m. This comes as one of the biggest strikes on a government compound in the region in nearly a year. In fact, it's important to point out this encounter is big because hundreds of security personnel from the state and paramilitary police are stationed at their camps over here in this particular area, and they stay there with their families. According to when reports came in, their families have been evacuated safely out of that zone at this particular point in time. But the gun battle, as we understand, is continuing. And the terrorist group Jaish-e-Mohammed is behind this attack that we saw today in Pulwama. That's the latest that we're getting, but the exact number of attackers inside the compound is still unknown. The security forces are continuously engaging with the terrorists who are believed to be holed up inside of this compound. The army and the police are jointly trying to dislodge these terrorists, and they've already evacuated families from the camp's residential block. And very crucial to point out that this attack is on the police complex, is one of the biggest on a state security facility since September last year. This is when armed terrorists broke into an army camp near the border, the line of control in Uri. 18 army personnel were killed last September in that attack. Already 8 security personnel are reportedly killed in the ongoing gun battle that is going on. It's almost 6 hours now. It all began at 3 p.m. when the attackers, these terrorists, opened fire at this base in Pulwama town. This is in south of Kashmir. Brigadier Mahalingam is on the phone line with us. He is a defense expert. Thanks so much for joining us here. Brigadier Mahalingam, how do you see the situation that's unfolding after Uri? This is one of the biggest attacks that we've seen, and Jaish-e-Mohammed has claimed responsibility. Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists are behind this entire attack.
So at the outset, I must say that my heart goes out with the families of the martyred CRPF men, as also the police, J&K police. Having said that, I must say that J&K police is doing a tremendous job in Kashmir, and they are the very same Kashmiri people, the Kashmiri men who belong to that very land. It is unfortunate those militants chose to attack and kill those very Kashmiri policemen who were doing their duties. Having said that, I must also bring out that South Kashmir for over a year now has been a hub of terrorism activities in Kashmir. As you rightly said, it is in South Kashmir, and 2 most important places, one, the Tral, and secondly, Kulgam, are the 2 bases of militant outfits in this particular area. And they have been growing very strong, and it is unfortunate that they attacked police lines. The point to bring out is that the very fact that they attacked the police line, there might be certain shortfalls in as far as the defenses, in as far as the protection are concerned. It is also possible, because this happened right in the middle of the Pulwama area in a known and a well-established camp, there might be there might be people who are very close to that camp who may be involved in guiding the militants to carry out this attack.
Right.
What is required is a detailed investigation will have to be carried out to ensure that this sort of a thing doesn't happen again, and the camp personnel will have to enhance their security themselves.
Valid points there. Brigadier Mahalingam, may I please request you to stay on the line with us. M.M. Khajuria, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir Police, is now with us over the phone line. Sir, thanks so much for speaking to us. Can you give us a sense of how big is this attack that we're looking at? This is a base in Pulwama town of South Kashmir. This is a place where hundreds of security personnel from the state and paramilitary police are also stationed along with their families. Can you explain to us the magnitude and the significance of this place being attacked by Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists?
See, firstly, this attack should have been registered. Pulwama is the hub of their activities, and they practically hold the area under their control. Particularly after we had inflicted so many casualties on them, it should have been expected. Apparently, there have been some lapse somewhere. The outer parameter protection also needs to be looked into very seriously. And then our ability to respond to this kind of a situation, which, as I said, should have been expected, has not been up to the mark. Having said that, this is a war. In this war, you can't win all the battles. It's some they will win, some we will win. There'll be losses, and sad as that may be, unfortunate that may be, there's no option but to accept them. But the answer is to honestly do introspection, go into the deficiencies very, very professionally, try and keep the morale of our force up. That we have inflicted the casualties on them. They have inflicted casualties on us. We'll get back and we will deal with them. But the most important thing is that we have to be in control of the area.
Right.
Somehow we are not in the control of the area yet, and a very major operation needs to be launched now to see that this setback is upset and that the people are assured that it is the security forces, it's the government that's in command and not the terrorists.
Absolutely. Sir, you pointed out there must have been a security lapse somewhere. Would you say that this is perhaps one of the biggest attacks that we've seen since the Uri attack that took place last September, and the fact that it happened in broad daylight at 3 p.m., that's when first reports came in?
I would say that this is probably they can claim it as their most effective operation against us. And somewhere we will have to also accept that we not to up to the expectations of the situation as well as the people. But as I said, the answer is an honest introspection and not blame game. And because it's a long war, it's not going to end tomorrow, day after tomorrow. The seesaw happens in wars. And therefore, the answer is to school headedly and thoroughly professionally go into this.
Right.
And take hold of the situation. The most important thing is that we must be present there in that area. We must control the area. Unless that happens, mere operations, killing people, coming and going on help, because this is a war in which they don't have any paucity either of men or of material. The entire global terrorism is behind their back, and that is what we are facing.
All right. Sir, may I please request you to be online with us? Brigadier Mahalingam, I'll come back to you in just a few moments, but Khalid Hussain, WION's correspondent, is joining us right now on the phone line with the very latest from Srinagar. Khalid, what's the latest? Is the gun battle still going on? Any word on how many more terrorists could be still holed up inside that compound?
Is still on. However, firefight has stopped from last 30 minutes, and the search operation is still on. The operation is continued because there are apprehensions that one more militant may be inside, and maybe he is killed. But unless the security forces will not retrieve his body, the operation will not be concluded. And if we see that the attack happened at around 4:20 a.m. in the morning, and since morning it's still going on. This time it's more than 12 hours now that this encounter is going on, and search now are going on from block to block. It has the whole DPL has 8 blocks, and 2 blocks where militants were seated were Block D and Block E. And in Block E, this time search are still going on. They are searching the body of 3rd militant because firefight has stopped, and it's believed that he may have got killed. But unless the body is not retrieved, the operation will not be concluded. But there's a Jaish-e-Mohammed spokesperson has called a local news agency in Srinagar and has claimed the responsibility of this attack. However, security forces tell us that this was the group of Jaish-e-Mohammed militant outfit who have infiltrated through Poonch 1.5 months before, and now they have divided into parts of 3 to 4 militants, and this 3 militant group has attacked today. And this information of attack was and input was with the security personnel that some attack may happen in the Shupian or Pulwama area. And this indicates that despite knowing the fact that this kind of attack will happen in the area, still the attack happens. It has raised the question to the security scenario also. However, this is big attack, 8 casualties we have seen, 4 from CRPF, 4 from Jammu Kashmir police. So this way it's a big attack carried by the militants, but the security forces have now controlled the situation and have eliminated 2 of the militants who have sneaked in, and 1 more body may be there. However, there is no firefight this time going on at this point.
Okay. All right. So 17 hours and still counting the operation to flush out perhaps the remaining terrorists who've already been gunned down in the gun battle that has been raging on since 4:30 a.m. in this base in Pulwama town of South Kashmir. Brigadier Mahalingam, if I can come back to you, we heard there Khalid Hussain giving us a detailed report on what has been happening through the day. Let's also point out that SP Vaid of the J&K police, he has refuted the possibility of a security lapse. He says you can't prevent somebody who is ready to die. Now, these are Fidain attackers, and as we've also been talking about this, the state had prior intelligence about a possibility of this attack because these Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists had infiltrated 1.5 months back.
There is a possibility, as I had mentioned previously, that there could be a security lapse. The very fact that an attack of this nature had taken place and it has been carrying on for so much of time, that is from 4:30 in the morning, and it seems to be continuing yet, it sort of brings out one point very categorically, the resolve in the people who are guarding the place to eliminate those terrorists. The point that I wish to make is, yes, there could be certain defaults, there could be certain mistakes, there could be certain sort of shortcomings, but it is now for the government to carry out proper thorough investigations and ensure that such lapses do not occur any moment.
Right.
And at this point of time, I would not like to put any blame on anyone, because the battle is still going on. People are still fighting, and people have been lost, and it is not appropriate for anyone to blame anyone at this point in time. Having said that, the second aspect which I would like to mention is Jaish-e-Mohammed is the organization which is reported to have done that. We must understand Jaish-e-Mohammed is a terror outfit, a proxy outfit for Pakistan's ISI, and obviously these people have been instructed to carry out this particular attack at this point in time. Jaish-e-Mohammed has also Hizbul Mujahideen and Lashkar-e-Toiba, in particularly in Pulwama district.
I get your point, Brigadier Mahalingam. Just stay with me. Lieutenant General Raj Kardian, who's a defence expert, is also on the line with us. I'll come back to you in just a bit, Brigadier Mahalingam. Lieutenant General Raj Kardian, thanks so much for speaking to us. Your first reaction on what's happening in Pulwama as we speak. Now, let me also point out that according to statements coming out from security forces from Kashmir, they say that the Operation All Out, which a top army commander has said, saying that the situation in the valley is much better and that they're increasing the number of operating bases in southern parts of Kashmir. But if these bases are not secure, then these kind of incidents, terror attacks, will continue to happen.
If you take the statistics of the last 4 months, security forces have been operating relentlessly. Flow of information had improved, and a number of important terrorist leaders had been eliminated. For the last couple of weeks, there had been a general quiet, but that is not to say that all the terrorists have been eliminated. They are confined to a very small area in South Kashmir. Pulwama is their hub center.
Right.
A couple of attacks have taken place. The second part, since the terrorists fired the first shot, casualties on the part of the security forces are inevitable. Of course, they can be minimized. The details are yet to come out. Second part I want to make is, once you have localized the terrorists, once you have surrounded them, then time is of no concern. In fact, we should not incur any risk just to hurry up the operation. They can't run away. They can't get away. So we should make sure that they are eliminated without causing any further damage to the security forces. Let it take even longer. That is not of any concern. Aim is to get them all without letting them escape, which I think they are ensuring. The area is surrounded.
Right, but in this case, they seem to be Fedayeen attackers, so they're not going anywhere, of course. They're there to kill themselves. What if they have explosives? Because this is also, something which is to be looked at, because this is a compound. But thankfully, the families of these security men, they've been moved out. So that's, not a very big point of concern at this point, sir. I get your point, what you're saying. Please go on.
Yeah. We have to ensure that there is no collateral damage, the families are safe, and there is no hurry to complete the operation. We are not in competition with anybody. As long as they are in the bag, they can't escape. That is what we should ensure, and I'm sure they have ensured that. Tire out, they will finish their ammunition, they will either give up or they will be killed. In fact, if somebody gives up, that is a great gain, because catching a terrorist alive is much more of value than getting a dead body. So we should not put pressure on the security forces to finish the operation quickly as possible. Their mettle is not under test. There is no match between the two, except that there are the terrorists, the civilians, difficult to identify. They fire the first shot, then only the security forces only react. So some casualties are bound to happen.
Right.
It is unfortunate, but it's inevitable. So let them take their time, because local commanders on the spot.
Absolutely. In fact, sir, as we are talking right now, reports coming in that a third terrorist has been neutralized. And if reports were to be believed, we spoke to our correspondent Khalid Hussain a couple of minutes ago, and he told us that the security forces were anticipating that after gunning down 2 terrorists, they were expecting just 1 more terrorist inside of the compound. And now that reports are coming in that this third terrorist has been neutralized, perhaps the threat is averted. But this, would you say, Lieutenant General Kardian, this attack is one of the biggest since Uri, in which 18 security personnel were killed?
Yeah, in the recent past, it can be termed as a big attack, because a number of people have suffered casualties. But this kind of attack cannot be totally ruled out. If
right.
you see the frequency of attacks have gone down,
absolutely,
the security forces have the upper hand.
Okay.
But that is not to say that they have been totally eliminated. There are still some elements which they may do a chip again.
Right. In fact, M.M. Khajuria, former DG Jammu and Kashmir Police, I believe, is waiting patiently on the line with us. Mr. Khajuria, sorry to keep you waiting, but coming back to you, do you think there is a need in, apart from coming up with these more number of bases in South Kashmir, which has seen a spurt in violence in the last year and a half, do you think there's also a need to make sure that these bases are secure and security is not breached in a sense, because these Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, we believe, they had infiltrated it from Pooch, and it's been a month and a half, and this is not just 3 terrorists we're talking about. There could be more. They could be planning more attacks elsewhere in Jammu and Kashmir.
You see, whenever they commandeered the Jaish people, it means that they are going for some big action. And this is the response to the successes that security forces have achieved during the recent days. And this is not a time to lecture the security forces what they need to do, because they know what their business is. But the issues are that this war is not going to be settled only on the operational field. This is something much bigger, a larger picture, in which the local population and the ideological content is very important. So we have to fight this battle on both fronts. Obviously, the security forces will go into analyze what has happened, how things have gone, whether there anything needs to be saved. Because there is no time for blame game, nor is anybody sort of trying to pick holes in what the security force is doing. But every operation has to be analyzed very, very carefully to find out how our responses can be improved and what can we do
Mr. Kajuria, can I please request you to stay on the line with me? I'll come back to you. Mr. S.P. Vaid, who is the DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police, is also on the line with us. Thanks so much for joining us. Can you tell us what's happening on the ground? We believe 8 security personnel, as reports coming into us, have come in. They have lost their lives and 2 terrorists have been killed. Can you give us the latest, sir?
Yeah, that's right. We have 8 casualties on our side, 4 CRPF Jawans and 4 JNK policemen have been martyred, and we recovered 2 dead bodies. But I must compliment my boys from JNK police, the Army para unit and their officers, and CRPF. They did a great job in rescuing 36 people, occupant of those family quarters, and saved their lives. But unfortunately, we lost 8 our brave soldiers. We have recovered 2 dead bodies of the terrorists, and 3rd building is being searched. The search is yet not complete. Maybe one or militant is hiding in that building as well.
Right. Sir, thanks for that information. But we believe that these Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists infiltrated from Pooch about 1.5 months back. And we're also getting to hear that there was prior intelligence that few attacks are being planned in South Kashmir. Do you think something went wrong as far as, implementing more security in place is concerned? Because this is a base that we are talking about. And even though the Indian security forces have managed to successfully neutralize many, over 130 terrorists in the last 2-3 months, including 7 top commanders, this attack comes as a setback of sorts, because this is also looks like one of the biggest since Uri last September.
That's right. That will be looked into, but the security forces are doing a commendable job, and I'm sure the country should be proud of their work. The boys here in Kashmir, whether from Army, CR paramilitary or police or JNK police, are doing a great job, and I think the whole nation must compliment them.
Absolutely. We completely understand the security forces and their efforts. Can you talk to us about Operation All Out? And, a part of that is increasing the number of operation bases, especially in southern parts of the valley. Do you think that apart from increasing the number of bases, securing them is also proving to be an issue with this attack taking place?
So we need to take precautions. I think there was, as you said, intelligence reports, but in a situation where people are ready to do or die, and in spite of all best possible measures, these things do occur, and the best thing is to minimize damage, and I think rescuing 36 people was a great job they have done.
Lieutenant General Sindhu, who's the GOC of Srinagar, sir, he said that yes, there have been a number of local boys who've joined militants, and I hope in due course they'll start realizing it's not worth it. But he also said that the situation in Kashmir is much better than last year, and the violence levels have reduced to a great extent. Is this incident, sir, does this not raise doubts about the possibility of more deadly terrorist attacks? We are talking about Fidaiin attackers over here.
That I think we'll take care of those things, but I tend to agree with General Sandhu what he said. The things are much better than what it was in 2016, and on ground things have improved tremendously. I think this is must have been engineered from across to take. Because their morale was down and they had setbacks. I think just to counter that, these actions like this are being taken.
And my last question before we let you go, sir. 17 hours on, do you think the battle is coming to an end?
I think in another 1 or 2 hours it should be over.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, speaking to WION. I'd also like to thank Mr. M.M. Khajuria and Lieutenant General Raj Kadian and Brigadier Mahalingam for joining us with their perspective on this situation that's unfolding in Pulwama. Just to recap for our viewers, before we conclude this edition of the broadcast, 8 security personnel, 4 from Jammu and Kashmir Police and 4 from CRPF have been killed in this ongoing battle. 2 terrorists have been gunned down. These terrorists are Fidaiin attackers belonging to Jaish-e-Mohammed. And what we do know as of now, in this security compound in Pulwama, at least 1 more terrorist could be holed up. He might be dead. We don't know that yet, but we will keep you up to date with whatever is happening in Pulwama right now. That's all then in this edition. Taking a short break. News and updates continue right here on WION.